They say your energy flows where your attention goes. But what if your attention is constantly going to something that leaks your fortune instead of holding it? Think about it. Your phone is the most touched object in your life. You don't eat without it near, sleep without it beside you, or make decisions without its presence whispering nearby. And yet, how many of us have ever asked, what kind of energy is my phone really carrying? In classical Feng Shui, anything that stays close to the body becomes an extension of your qi. It mirrors your mental habits. It amplifies or distorts your intentions. Your phone is no exception. In fact, because of how often it's touched, looked at, and relied upon, it may be the single most powerful energetic anchor you carry every day. But here's the beautiful truth. This isn't a curse, it's an opportunity. What if, instead of allowing your phone to act as a passive receiver of random energy, you turned it into a quiet transmitter of fortune, clarity, and calm? What if every time you picked it up, it didn't just trigger urgency or distraction, but helped restore alignment with what truly matters to you? In today's video, I'll share 5 sacred objects, each rooted in centuries of Feng Shui tradition and energetic symbolism, that you can quietly place inside your phone case. These aren't talismans for show. They're subtle protectors, quiet allies. They help remind your field and your focus of who you are becoming. You see, in ancient teachings, intention only becomes real when it's grounded in the physical world. You can affirm a goal 1,000 times in your head, but until you embed it into your environment, your subconscious may never fully believe it. That's why sacred objects, symbols, and placement rituals matter so deeply. They bridge the invisible and the visible. They turn wishes into frequencies. Each of the 5 objects I'll introduce today is small, easily slipped under your phone case or between your device and its cover. You don't need to tell anyone they're there, but you'll know. And that knowing changes everything, because it's not about superstition. It's about structure, about anchoring your path in form, not just in hope. For example, did you know that a single red thread, tied with intention and placed in your phone case, has long been used to absorb emotional noise and shield against subtle envy? Or that a pressed bay leaf with a handwritten goal can serve as a living contract between your future self and the present moment you're building? I'll break each of these down in the sections ahead, along with how to use them based on your current life direction, whether you're seeking clarity, wealth, healing, or protection. But before we begin, I want to gently invite you to take one mindful action. If this kind of practical, timeless insight resonates with you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone walking a similar path, and subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're getting close to reaching 1,000 followers, and with your support, I'll be able to continue bringing deeper Feng Shui wisdom into more homes, helping more people align their lives not by force but by energy. What we carry close to us matters. And when you choose even one object with clarity and reverence, you're already shifting the story. You're already saying, I'm no longer willing to live surrounded by unconscious chaos. I want harmony. I want alignment. I want fortune that doesn't just visit, but stays. Let's begin. 5 sacred objects to carry in your phone case, not to impress anyone else, but to remind yourself that your energy is worth protecting. Why the phone holds energetic power. In classical Feng Shui, we are taught that every object in our environment either uplifts our life force or slowly interferes with it. And this principle applies even more strongly to the things we touch constantly. That's why, in today's world, the smartphone is no longer just a tool for communication. It has become an energetic extension of the self. While we tend to focus on the external design or the technical specs of our phones, very few people pause to ask, what kind of vibration is this device broadcasting into my life? Because in Feng Shui terms, your phone isn't just a device, it's a portable energy field. It's the modern equivalent of a personal altar, something you consult first thing in the morning and last before bed, something you cradle, press against your face, and sleep beside. That proximity gives it power, and that power can either be consciously shaped or unconsciously misused. Let's put this in perspective. In a well-balanced Feng Shui home, we know not to place chaotic art or broken objects near the front entrance because the entryway is considered the mouth of qi. It sets the tone for all incoming energy. Now apply that same logic to your phone. If your lock screen features an image of stress, aggression, sarcasm, or chaos, or if you're carrying cluttered thoughts in the form of unresolved reminders, ghosted messages, or unfinished drafts, then your phone becomes a trap for stagnant qi rather than a channel for clear energy. Even the seemingly small choices, like the type of background, the words you use in your notes app, or the symbols you keep tucked into the phone case, can become energetic triggers that unconsciously program how you relate to yourself, to others, and to your fortune. In many Eastern systems, there's a saying, "What is touched often becomes charged." That means the things we handle repeatedly start to absorb a kind of signature. This is why the energetic imprint of a phone is so significant. It travels with us everywhere, absorbs the tone of our conversations, stores our fears, our hopes, our late-night Google searches, and even our secrets. It's not just digital memory, it's energetic residue. And if we aren't actively clearing or directing that field, then by default it gets cluttered, like a hallway no one has swept in weeks. Now, this doesn't mean you need to treat your phone with reverence or fear, but it does mean treating it with more conscious awareness. If you view your phone like a mini altar, you begin to ask better questions. What intentions am I planting into it? What words and images am I letting it reflect back to me 100 times a day? What symbols could I quietly place inside its case to act as reminders, protectors, or enhancers of the energy I want to invite? The phone case itself becomes the perfect place for subtle intervention. It's not something anyone sees. It's private, close, and symbolic. It's a container that, when filled with aligned items like natural herbs, meaningful words, red threads, or spiritual coins, begins to transform from passive receiver into conscious transmitter. And the effect isn't about superstition, it's about subtle recalibration. It's the difference between carrying a bag filled with tangled receipts versus carrying one that holds a carefully chosen talisman, a pressed bay leaf, or a folded note of intention. This is not about dramatic rituals. It's about giving your energy a direction. Just as you wouldn't leave broken glass scattered across your floor and still expect to walk freely, you shouldn't expect emotional clarity or spiritual alignment if you're constantly touching something that radiates confusion, distraction, or unresolved history. So before we dive into the 5 sacred objects you can place inside your phone case, take a moment to reflect. What kind of energy is your phone absorbing? What kind of influence is it radiating back into your field? And more importantly, what small shift could you make today to start turning this everyday object into an ally for your wealth, protection, and clarity? Object 1, small red thread with 3 knots. Let's begin with something profoundly simple. A short red thread, not woven into jewelry, not blessed by any monk, just a humble piece of string, yet tied with intention. It becomes one of the most potent tools of energetic protection in classical Feng Shui. In Chinese metaphysics, red is not just a lucky color, it's an energetic force. Red belongs to the fire element. It represents life, circulation, courage, visibility, and resistance against decay. It's the pulse of your home's fortune and the heartbeat of your own momentum. Red activates energy. It burns away stagnation. And when applied in small but deliberate ways, it protects. That's why in Feng Shui, red threads are often used at thresholds, worn around the wrist or tied near doors, not for superstition, but to symbolically safeguard spaces where energy might leak or be invaded. Now ask yourself, where is one of the most frequently crossed thresholds in your life today? It's not your front door, it's your phone. You carry your phone into your home, your workplace, your private moments, and even your sleep. You check it when you're tired, reactive, hopeful, fearful. It holds conversations, photos, secrets, dreams, and schedules. In short, it holds you. So if you were a traditional energy practitioner and wanted to quietly stabilize someone's field without disrupting their modern lifestyle, where would you begin? Right there, with a small energetic shield tucked into the one object they never put down. But the red thread alone isn't enough. The key is the knotting ritual. Why 3 knots? Because in symbolic energetic practice, both Feng Shui and certain streams of esoteric Buddhism, the number 3 represents wholeness. The past, the present, the future. The body, speech, and mind. The breath, the thought, the action. The act of knotting isn't merely decorative, it's intentional sealing. Each knot declares, I acknowledge my past. I am choosing clarity in this moment. I release the future with trust. And when you tie a knot with breath, meaning you inhale slowly before pulling the thread tight, you're embedding your intention into the physical. Breath is spirit, thread is matter. When they meet through action, they create form with meaning. So how do you do this? Take a piece of bright red thread, no longer than your pinky finger. Sit quietly and bring to mind your current energetic intention. Maybe it's clarity through chaos. Maybe it's protect my calm. Maybe it's move forward without fear. Breathe into that idea, truly inhale it. Then tie the first knot for your past. As you exhale, visualize old noise dissolving. Inhale again, tie the second knot for the present. Inhale one last time. Tie the third knot for the future you are stepping into. Then fold the thread gently, wrap it into a tiny loop, and slip it under the protective case of your phone, directly behind it or in a hidden flap, depending on your phone model. You're not doing this for display, you're doing this for alignment. And the difference? Subtle but cumulative. Let me share a story. A man named Eric, an independent real estate consultant in his late 30s, found himself drained after weeks of unstable negotiations. He was in a pattern. Leads came in strong, excitement built, but somewhere in the process, things unraveled. Clients pulled back, communication dropped, trust eroded. When we spoke, he admitted his biggest challenge wasn't logistics, it was energetic noise. He felt everything, every fear from clients, every expectation, every shift in tone. His phone, he said, felt hot with static. That's not unusual for energetically sensitive people. We suggested a basic intervention. Use his phone to anchor stability, not carry collective anxiety. He followed the simple ritual. Red thread, 3 knots, quiet breath, 1 intention, hold my center, then placed it inside his phone case and went about his week. Within days, he noticed something he didn't expect. He wasn't over-explaining himself in emails. He wasn't reacting impulsively to client texts. He even said, I've started closing the conversation when it turns chaotic, not fueling it. Did deals magically fall from the sky? No, but his energetic posture changed. The noise no longer invaded his field. He held his direction, and 2 delayed closings finally pushed through within 10 days. One with a note from the clients saying, thanks for staying grounded. Coincidence, perhaps? Or perhaps it's just what happens when the tool you touch most is no longer just a screen, but a sacred object that listens to your boundaries. You see, this is not about magic. This is about subtle architecture. Feng Shui is never just about moving furniture. It's about moving energy, choosing how your space, your body, and your tools interact with the invisible field around you. Your phone is your most touched object. If it carries your to-do lists, your messages, your memories, shouldn't it also carry your protection, your clarity, your breath? The red thread is not just a thread, it's your invisible spine, your quiet defense, your reminder that you are not here to absorb everything. You are here to discern. And so I leave you with this. Every day you carry something that carries your energy. What if you shifted it from reaction to intention? Object 2, polished coin from an ancestor or place of power. Among all the symbolic items one could carry, few hold the quiet power of a simple, polished coin, especially one tied to ancestral memory or a sacred location. In Feng Shui, the coin is not just a token of financial value, it's a vessel for energetic circulation, gratitude, and karmic continuity. Metal, as one of the 5 elements, governs not only wealth but also clarity, righteousness, and precision. It is the element of refinement, both materially and spiritually. And in the form of a coin, it becomes one of the most potent expressions of qi in motion, a round symbol of heaven with an interior square symbolizing earth. The round shape gathers celestial flow, while the square center anchors it into practical form. This duality is not accidental. It mirrors the core philosophy of Feng Shui itself, to bring heaven's intention into earthly reality. Carrying a coin from a place of personal significance, a country where you were born, a temple where you prayed, or a market where a respected elder handed it to you, is not about superstition or nostalgia. It's about aligning your personal energy field with a line of intentional wealth. That coin has moved, it has passed through hands. It has been touched by history, by hope, by hands that exchange it not just for goods, but for experiences, responsibilities, and dreams. It holds a microcosm of transaction, of motion, of value acknowledged. And when you choose to consciously invite that motion into your most frequently touched personal item, your phone, you're telling the universe, let me remember where I've come from. Let me stay connected to the value that flows through my bloodline, not just my bank account. Now, not all coins carry the same vibrational weight. A brand new coin from the bank, while physically identical, may feel energetically hollow compared to a coin you once held during a temple prayer or received from a grandparent's hand. That's because qi is sensitive to meaning. The object may be the same, but its charge is built on story and intention. Coins gifted during milestone moments, after graduation, during a period of hardship, or from a respected elder who has since passed, contain a form of latent qi memory. Their surface may shine, but it's their unseen current that speaks loudest. Even a worn, imperfect coin can hum with resonance if it has been carried through meaningful transition. Energetically, what matters most is not the market value, but the lineage. Energetic, emotional, and symbolic. From a Feng Shui perspective, this coin, once selected, should be treated with reverence. Not displayed like a charm or talisman for show, but wrapped quietly in a soft, natural fiber cloth, cotton or silk is preferred. Ideally in colors that support your element. Green for wood, red for fire, yellow for earth, white for metal, or blue for water. Wrapping the coin is not just about protection, it's about concentration. You are creating an energetic womb where the memory of flow can be carried without interference. Then gently place it beneath the backplate of your phone or inside the case in a position where it won't slide or rub against other objects. Avoid placing it near receipts, credit cards, or digital bank chips. The goal is to support timeless, slow-growing wealth, not entangle it with frantic transactional energy. One story comes to mind: a woman in her late 30s, recovering from a series of financial setbacks and ancestral estrangement. She received an old, almost forgotten coin from her father's wallet after he passed, a coin he'd carried during his years building the family's original business. She cleaned it, wrapped it in gold silk, and tucked it inside her phone case. She didn't do it out of superstition. She did it as a quiet act of reconnection. Over the next few weeks, she reported not only a feeling of stability returning to her financial life, but also the unexpected restoration of communication with a long-estranged cousin who later offered her a business collaboration that felt, in her words, like a karmic closing of a loop. That's not magic, that's alignment. That's what a conscious carrier of lineage energy can become. Not someone hoping to be rescued by luck, but someone choosing to move in rhythm with a legacy that has never fully left. Carrying a coin, then, is not about clinging to the past. It's about acknowledging that wealth is not created in isolation. It is inherited in potential and sustained through clarity. The phone, as your portal to communication, navigation, and daily decisions, is already a field of energetic interference. Adding a conscious, symbolically charged coin beneath its surface can help ground that field, not to block modern life, but to remind you of the root beneath the reach. So whether your coin comes from a prayer altar or a grandparent's drawer, treat it as a key, not to unlock sudden riches, but to remind your daily self of the value that's already flowing within your story. That coin isn't your wealth, but it can help you remember what kind of wealth you're truly meant to build. Object room: a pinch of unprocessed sea salt. Salt has been revered across civilizations not only for its ability to preserve and flavor food, but also for its profound energetic function. In the realm of Feng Shui, unprocessed sea salt stands as one of the simplest yet most effective agents of purification. It is yin in quality yet powerfully active in its energetic impact. When placed inside a personal energy field, such as near your body or, more strategically, within your phone case, it acts as a quiet filter. Salt absorbs, retains, and neutralizes chaotic or stagnant energy before it can integrate into your thoughts, your decisions, or your emotional baseline. It is quite literally the Earth's alchemical tool for energetic hygiene. And when used with mindfulness, even the tiniest pinch can make the difference between scattered, draining digital interaction and centered, conscious engagement with your day. We rarely think about the energetic buildup we carry from work calls, stress emails, scrolling through the news, or dealing with interpersonal tensions via messaging apps. But every tap, every swipe, every notification enters our field, whether or not we allow it consciously. This is why unprocessed sea salt, when placed near the most energetically vulnerable and overused object of our day, our phone, acts as a barrier and a sponge. It soaks up frequencies of anxiety, jealousy, hostility, and fear before they embed themselves in our field. What makes salt so special is that it doesn't reject energy. It absorbs and neutralizes it, helping to regulate the emotional temperature of our space in a silent, consistent way. That's why it's used in many ancient rituals, not to cast out demons or dramatize energy, but simply to recenter it. The salt used should be unprocessed, preferably gray or off-white sea salt, rich with trace minerals and untouched by bleaching or artificial refinement. Why? Because salt that has been overly sanitized loses its vibrational intelligence. Refined table salt is mechanically clean, stripped, and often energetically inert. In contrast, raw sea salt harvested naturally still holds the imprint of earth, water, sun, and time. 4 elements working together in perfect patience. This type of salt isn't just a symbolic object. It's an energetic presence. It carries the memory of deep oceans and geological stillness. When placed inside your phone case in a small paper envelope, cloth pouch, or double-wrapped tea bag, it begins doing what salt has always done. It protects, it absorbs, it holds. From a practical Feng Shui standpoint, the salt must be physically separated from the internal workings of your phone to avoid moisture issues. But energetically, it should rest directly against the back or near the bottom part of your case. The area closest to your palm or touch zone works well, because salt, like intention, performs best when held close to skin contact. Once placed, leave it for one full lunar cycle, approximately 28 to 30 days. Then dispose of it respectfully. Do not reuse the same salt. Think of it like a sponge that is already soaked in the energetic water of your environment. Once full, it needs to be rinsed, not in water, but through symbolic disposal. Bury it in the earth, flush it, if local customs permit, or scatter it into flowing water. The act of replacing it monthly isn't superstition, it's a practice of energetic accountability. Unlike coins or sacred symbols that carry intention into the future, salt's job is not to project or manifest. Its role is containment. It prevents the inflow of what does not belong, especially for people who work in emotionally charged environments, spend long hours online, or find themselves frequently drained after digital interactions. This practice of using salt inside your phone case offers a subtle yet effective counterweight. It doesn't change your circumstances. It clarifies your center. Some Feng Shui practitioners also combine a pinch of salt with a tiny sliver of dried citrus peel or bay leaf to bring in an element of freshness and upward motion. But at its core, salt on its own is enough. It's a stabilizer. It is not dramatic, but it is deeply trustworthy. When you use it with regularity, you may not see fireworks, but you'll likely notice you snap less, you react slower, you bounce back faster. That is the nature of clean energy. It doesn't shout, it supports. Object 4, pressed petal from a sacred flower. In the tradition of Feng Shui, flowers are not just decorative, they are potent, living metaphors for the cycles of growth, transformation, and emotional rebirth. When a flower is in full bloom, it reflects a phase of life when intention has matured, when internal nourishment has reached outward expression. And even when the flower has dried, it carries within it a quiet imprint of that vibrancy, grace, and momentum. That is why pressing a single petal from a sacred flower and carrying it with you, especially within the intimate chi field of your phone, is considered a deeply meaningful act. It reminds the subconscious that no matter how chaotic or uncertain life becomes, you are still blooming toward your dharma, toward your higher alignment. Among the thousands of botanical options, Feng Shui traditionally honors 3 blossoms as especially suitable for this purpose: lotus, peony, and jasmine. Each of these carries a distinct vibrational signature, yet all share the ability to softly recalibrate emotional energy. The lotus, often seen as a spiritual emblem across Asian metaphysics, represents transcendence through adversity. It grows through mud and murky water, but blossoms into perfect symmetry and peace above the surface. Carrying a pressed lotus petal subtly encourages you to rise with dignity through case. It tells your field, I remember who I am, even in discomfort. The peony, in contrast, is a flower of abundance and sensual power. In classical Feng Shui, it is linked to both romantic magnetism and financial elegance. A pressed peony petal helps revive areas of life where vibrancy has gone dormant, whether in confidence, attraction, or creativity. Jasmine, with its fragrant delicacy, carries the energy of quiet knowing. It is the flower of soft strength. Energetically, jasmine clears emotional noise, encourages purity of intention, and stabilizes feminine resilience without aggression. Once you've chosen your flower and petal, the process is deceptively simple, but spiritually rich. Press it gently, ideally between the pages of a meaningful book or inside parchment paper under weight, for at least 7 days. The slow drying process encodes patience into the gesture. Do not rush it. When ready, wrap the petal in tissue or insert it between a paper charm or small envelope. This isn't about adding color to your phone case. It's about anchoring a symbolic reminder to your most handled object. Your phone becomes not just a device, but a vessel that quietly says, you are still unfolding, you are still becoming. The energetic benefit of carrying a pressed petal lies in what it whispers, not in your ears, but in your field. It does not yell for action. It harmonizes what's already present. In high-stress situations, a person who holds the vibration of a flower is less reactive, more reflective. Their decisions are made from centered knowing rather than wounded defense. The teacher who placed a jasmine petal in her phone during a semester marked by conflict and abrupt changes later shared how she began handling student complaints and administrative pressure with an ease she hadn't felt before. It didn't stop the stress, she said, but it changed how I received it. I wasn't overwhelmed, I was in my own current. That is the power of sacred flora. Its effect is not to stop challenge, but to help you hold your shape while walking through it. From a Feng Shui viewpoint, this object is most aligned with the wood element: growth, rebirth, clarity. It supports people who are in periods of personal reinvention, who are shedding an identity or preparing to step into a larger life. If you are healing from burnout, heartbreak, or creative stagnation, the pressed petal becomes a quiet companion, one that sits beneath your fingers each day to remind you that growth is often silent, unseen, and slow, but never stagnant. It is a talisman not of urgency, but of gentle power. Object 5, folded intention statement. In both classical Feng Shui and ancient Buddhist cosmology, the spoken and written word is never neutral. Words carry frequency. They set intention into motion long before a single action is taken. That's why in the context of symbolic object placement, especially in something as energetically active as a mobile phone, a folded intention statement can quietly but powerfully shape the chi field around you. Unlike complex rituals or ornate charms, this tool invites clarity through simplicity. One clear sentence, carried consistently, becomes a silent command to the energetic matrix that surrounds your body and your choices. It is not a wish. It is a reminder of the frequency you are willing to maintain. The act itself is both practical and symbolic. Choose a small piece of clean paper. White or beige is best for neutral grounding, but you may also use light gold or soft green if you are focusing on prosperity or health. With a calm breath, write one short statement in the present tense. Avoid future-based language like "I will have" or "I hope to." These project your energy outward and away from the now. Instead, claim a present rhythm. Phrases such as "I remain steady in motion" or "Prosperity knows my name and rhythm," or "I meet each moment without fear" are more effective because they set tone, not just target. It's less about the poetry of the words and more about the sincerity of the state they invite. The act of writing is not just cognitive. It creates an energetic agreement between the mind and the body. From a Feng Shui perspective, this written charm aligns with the earth element: centeredness, boundaries, nourishment. Unlike fire-based intentions that ask for rapid manifestation, earth-based declarations create strong foundation. You are not trying to summon a result. You are inviting a frequency to nest. That difference is critical. Many people approach energy rituals with an unconscious desperation, trying to grab results quickly. But real prosperity, lasting fortune, emotional clarity, sustainable creativity blooms only where stability is first honored. A folded intention statement, quietly pressed behind your phone case, reminds you every time you reach for the device to check messages, scan social media, or reply to a demand. It whispers to your field, return to your chosen frequency. Practically, you may fold a statement in half twice, one fold for the inner world, one for the outer. Wrap in a thin layer of wax paper or soft cloth to protect it from moisture and friction. It doesn't need to be seen by anyone else, nor does it need to be perfect in penmanship. What matters is consistency. Energy responds not to volume, but to coherence. To maintain and refresh the charge, replace the paper during the full moon each month, not as superstition, but as symbolic cycle completion. Full moons are natural energetic culminations. They provide a spiritual prompt to ask, is this intention still true? Does it still serve? If not, rewrite. That too is energy hygiene. One personal example. During a season of emotional turbulence, many moving parts, uncertainty, and professional direction, I carried a simple folded phrase inside my phone case that read, I remain grounded while everything grows around me. I didn't chant it, I didn't even reread it daily. But every time I touched my phone, my nervous system, already conditioned by the phrasing, softened. Within that lunar cycle, my sleep stabilized, my mood regulated, and unexpected support arrived from collaborations I had long forgotten about. None of this was dramatic, but all of it was precise. That is how aligned language works. It calls not for magic, but for resonance. In essence, this object doesn't carry a spell. It carries a promise to yourself that you are willing to hold a specific emotional vibration, not just when it's convenient, but when it's most tested. The phone is often a source of overstimulation, comparison, urgency. But with a single folded phrase held behind it, that object becomes a shield, a filter, a small but sacred declaration that your energy and your life moves with intention. What not to keep inside your phone case in Feng Shui, not everything that fits should stay. While symbolic items can support your field just as easily, others quietly erode it, anchoring past identities, subconscious stress, or unresolved energetic debts. Your phone case may seem like a harmless storage spot for loose receipts, old charms, or expired IDs, but energetically it functions like a personal altar. Everything pressed close to your phone is in constant energetic conversation with you. It shapes the signals you send, the moods you hold, and the clarity you carry. That's why Feng Shui practitioners emphasize not just what to place, but what to remove. Let's begin with one of the most commonly overlooked items: receipts from debt purchases. You may have shoved a credit card slip into your case after buying something expensive or symbolic. The problem isn't the purchase itself, it's the energetic imprint left behind. That small piece of paper carries the vibration of owing, delay, and obligation. Every time you touch your phone, even unconsciously, you're brushing against a financial contract that hasn't been energetically cleared. It reinforces the narrative of still unpaid, still pending, or still chasing. In a practice centered on flow and intention, this is equivalent to carrying around a locked door with you, inviting anxiety to loop quietly beneath your awareness. Clear it out. If the purchase brought you joy, record the gratitude separately. Don't house the debt slip beside your daily decisions. Next, consider expired identification cards. Whether it's an old student ID, a former gym membership, or even an outdated driver's license. These documents are energetic snapshots of a version of you that no longer exists. In Feng Shui, on anchors spirit. When you hold on to these, especially in a sacred space like your phone, you unconsciously reinforce a past self-image, maybe one tied to limitation, insecurity, or stagnation. This isn't about denial of the past, it's about not letting obsolete versions of yourself script your present narrative. The more distant the idea from who you are now, the more it traps chi in outdated form. That's spiritual clutter. That's identity inertia. Then there are old keys. These might be from a home you've moved out of, a drawer you no longer use, or a symbolic place you've emotionally outgrown. Keys in Feng Shui represent access and opportunity. But when they no longer open anything, they become energetic dead ends. Keeping one pressed close to your personal energy field is like asking your subconscious to solve a puzzle with no door attached. The same principle applies to broken charms or damaged talismans. What was once sacred now emits confusion. A cracked crystal, a chipped piece of protective jewelry, a charm missing part of its design, all suggest compromised strength. You wouldn't wear a broken helmet into battle. Don't carry broken symbols into your energetic space. The common thread across all these objects is that they speak to the past, to tension, or to energetic confusion. And Feng Shui is not about keeping, it's about curating. It asks us to be editors of our environment. Your phone case isn't just storage, it's energetic real estate. Not all items deserve that proximity. Ask yourself, does this item represent my current intention? Does it uplift, protect, or clarify my field? If the answer is even slightly hesitant, the object needs to go. Your phone moves with you constantly. It's within inches of your body for hours each day. What's inside it sends silent instructions to the chi around you. Protect that signal. Curate it with as much care as you would a sacred room in your home. Minimalism isn't just aesthetic, it's energetic hygiene. Gentle final reflection. We often think transformation arrives in grand gestures. In the moment we sign the big contract, land the dream opportunity, or finally feel ready to change everything at once. But in the language of energy, it rarely works that way. Real change doesn't thunder into your life. It hums, it whispers, it gathers silently around the objects you touch most often, the patterns you repeat without noticing, and the intentions you fold quietly into your daily rhythms. And that's where the phone, this humble, ever-present companion, holds more influence than we realize. In classical Feng Shui, attention is currency. It is the shaping force of energy. What you give presence to begins to build presence in your life. So if your phone is the object you reach for when you wake, and again before you sleep, ask yourself honestly, what kind of energy are you silently reaching into? Is it anxiety, noise, outdated reminders of a self you're trying to evolve beyond? Or could it become something else, a carrier of focus, a vessel of small, sacred reminders, a signal of what you choose to stand for? You don't need to believe in luck, but you do need to believe in consistency, a single symbolic object placed with intention. Whether it's a red thread, a coin from your grandfather's hands, a petal from a sacred flower, or a single written truth you carry through your day, can begin to reshape the current that surrounds you. Not because it's magic, but because it realigns your attention. And attention, when directed consistently, becomes the architecture of your future. This isn't about superstition. This is about sovereignty, about reclaiming the everyday moments and tools we've allowed to become thoughtless, and turning them into small rituals of meaning. It's about reminding yourself in the rush of the digital world that you still get to choose what lies closest to your heart, your hand, and your future. So I invite you gently now. Which of these 5 objects are you most called to try first? What's one quiet shift you're ready to carry? Not to impress the world, but to quietly nourish the world inside you. I would truly love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If this video sparks something in you, clarity, calm, or even just a subtle rethinking of the way you carry your tools, I invite you to share it with someone else who might benefit. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. Your support helps me bring this kind of grounded, useful Feng Shui wisdom to more homes, more hearts, and more spaces ready for gentle transformation. We're close to reaching 1,000 followers, and with your help, this channel can continue to grow into a meaningful resource for those walking a similar path. Thank you for being part of this circle. May your energy remain clear, your intention steady, and the symbols you carry on your phone, in your home, and within your spirit always align with the future you are ready to meet.